Morning, everyone. Matthew with Be Different. It's Friday. As some people say, Fry-yay, because they're so excited for it to be Friday. And today I'm taking a half day at work, so it's going to be great. Going to hang out with the family a little bit since it's spring break here. So we have a weekly marriage group, and sometimes you'll be talking to people, and I hear it as God is testing me, or God is punishing me for a decision I made. So today I have some encouragement and some proof that God does not necessarily test you. Going through a trial is a test of your faith, but God himself will not put you in a position because he is everything that is good and perfect. So in James 1, we find a lot of our answers. So the first part is an encouragement, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like an encouragement when you're in the middle of it. So I'll read. This is James 1:2. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you'll be perfect and complete, needing nothing. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. But when you ask him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. Do not waver, for a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. So this tells us right here that it even says when your faith is tested. It doesn't say God tests your faith. It says your faith is tested to trust in God for any situation that you're in. So if we go down a little bit in James 1:13, it says, and remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me, or God is testing me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Now, death could mean the literal death. Death could also mean spiritual death. Death could also mean death to the blessings that God has planned for you, because we have chosen to go against what God's will is for us, what God's plan is for us. And I'm sure this happens all the time. And through God's grace and his love, we get back on track with him very quickly by asking for forgiveness and moving on. And like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, or maybe a few days ago, God forgets instantly. I mean, it's gone. When he says that he forgives you, he doesn't even remember it. And with our natural minds, we remember it, and we replay it over and over and over and over again. And I know mistakes that I've made, I just keep replaying over and over again in my head. And even my own wife has forgiven me, but sometimes I just can't let it go. And so, and I just love this part where it says, when you're being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me, because God does not tempt you. And if we look a little further, it says that whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God our Father, who created all things, all the lights in the heavens. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. So it says whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God our Father. So if he is punishing you, quote unquote, for something, it's not good and perfect. It's not from him. So we get punished because of our own sinful nature. We get punished because we're human. We mess up. We screw up. It happens. So we punish ourselves for our own mistakes. It's like when your kids do something that basically they have, in essence, punished themselves because they made a choice that was incorrect. And because you're not helping them out, or you're not helping them trying to get out of their own mess, they feel like it's the parents' fault, when actually it's their fault, because they made the mistake. And it's the same scenario. We've made the mistake. He's our Heavenly Father. He's saying, hey, you messed up. Here's the consequences are what they are. And either by his grace, he's going to scoop you out, or you have to live out the consequences. So, and in those consequences, it's the being faithful to God, regardless of how ugly it looks or how bad it looks. That's what matters. So I'm going to encourage you guys today to know that everything good and perfect comes from God, and that He would never, ever put you through any kind of trial on purpose, and it is because of our own will and sinful nature that bad things happen. And because we live in a fallen world, bad things happen to good people all the time, and bad things happen to bad people. It's no respecter of persons. Who you are, how good you live your life, bad things can still happen. And so I encourage you guys today to stay faithful to God, to know that He is there to lift you up, and everything good and perfect comes from Him. He is your Heavenly Father. He loves you, and He wants to be as close to you as possible, and wants to speak to you, and He wants to have a deep relationship with you. Be different today, guys. I love you.